How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Dude Ranch DIY. If you're new to the channel, my name is Jake and we are out here in my Woodyard. You guys are going to be seeing this probably tomorrow if I can get it edited and posted in time, which is Father's Day. So to all the fathers out there, I wish you a very happy Father's Day. Hope you enjoy some time with your family, your children, and have a great day. This morning we are out here. I got a little bit of a late start. I actually got out here relatively early. I was out here around 6:30 in the morning. Got the machines, brought down, fired up, warmed up. Then I got a call from work. We had a tree down across the road for the municipality that Chris and I work for full time. So we had to jet down there, pick up the tree, clean it up, get it off the road, open up the road, and then come all the way back. So here we are. You saw me this morning moving around and kind of organizing up all the totes and mostly these log lift bags. Blew all the leaves, kind of opened up this corner because the Woodyard is getting pretty full. I have 123 full totes and bags here in the Woodyard, and they are basically in chronological order from like these, in this general area being the oldest, and they go all the way down. If you can see, all the way by the gate, we started a new row and we're now stacking them 3 deep over there. So we got quite a bit of split wood. A lot of this stuff has been, split and seasoning for quite some time. Like some of this, I think if we go over here, this stuff is back from November of 2023. So this stuff will all be great firewood for next year. You guys know that have been watching, I like to keep the Woodyard, clean and orderly. So that's all part of that. And that also is going to allow me, once we fill up the Woodyard road with the 3rd row of totes, it's going to allow me to start stacking new totes, freshly split over here, and we'll just start the whole process over again. I'll be pulling from the oldest totes and working my way down, and we can just fill right in behind it. So that's kind of the method to the madness there. I hopped in the Kubota U35 mini excavator quick and just stacked up all of the remaining rounds in front of the Eastonmade wood splitter. Hopefully we're going to get those all split up today. That should equate to about 2 totes, maybe 3 totes, and we'll get that all out of the way. We'll be able to get this whole area cleaned up and ready for a whole nother session of cutting. I don't think I showed you guys this on video, but I had my buddy welder Chris weld me on some teeth here, as you can see, onto the thumb. They are on both sides, and they allow me to, grip and hold on to the logs a little bit better. This thumb, the one thing I didn't like about it was that it was smooth, and logs would quite often fall out of it, especially if they were larger diameter. He also went ahead and installed and welded on some big teeth / wear plates kind of here on the side of the bucket. This is the 12-inch trenching bucket, and that's the bucket that I use primarily for moving logs and cutting firewood. Because it is 12-inch, I can cut down to one single 16-inch round, pinched between the bucket and the thumb. So those, between those teeth and these teeth, I think we'll be able to grip logs really well. I noticed quite a difference in just picking up, some of these rounds. It's a lot easier to grip them. They don't kind of like shoot out when you put pressure on. Okay, so now that we got things cleaned up a little bit, I want to get to the point of today's video. As you guys know, we fill these totes up loose off the conveyor up here above my head. One of the issues with that is that we also cut out the faces of a lot of these totes to aid in unloading them. It just makes the wood fall out a little bit faster. It helps big time when I have to go fill the firewood stand. It helps big time when I'm pulling wood out to make bundles. When I first process the totes with the bladders and everything, I don't cut the face out. I just wait until I have to cut the face out, because to be quite honest, it's a lot easier to fill the totes without this giant gap, or void in the cage of the IBC tote. But that is what I wanted to show you today. I have been thinking for a long time of a good way that would be quick and easy to both install and remove when filling up the totes on the end of the conveyor. And this is what I came up with. So this is obviously just a cutout grate from one of the IBC totes. And what I did was I cut off, basically these end bars here on one of them. It was sacrificial. And I drilled out, as you can see, a hole here on these bottom rungs and these bottom rungs. And I basically just made it so that it's kind of like a little hinging locking mechanism, and it slides right into the tote. It provides a quick and easy, way for me to install, kind of like a false face in it for when we're filling. And then once it's full, you just pull it out, and the wood usually locks itself in there pretty well, to the point where maybe you have 1 or 2, 3 pieces fall out and you just got to throw them back in. But it's a hell of a lot better than filling up the tote with nothing there and a bunch of wood kind of cascading and falling out as you're filling up the tote. So let me show you how this works. So basically what you do is you just take it, slide it down, and then you just fold these bars like that, and it's in. It locks itself in pretty well. I have tested it. It really doesn't go anywhere. Now, granted, this is a large cutout from a large tote, and this is a small tote here that we're going to be filling. But I chose to make these grates out of the large totes. That way, it's usable on both the small totes and the large tote. And on the small totes, it kind of gives an extra little backboard here of 1 extra rung of height to help hold the wood in even more. Once the tote is filled with wood, you simply just grab it and swing these out of the way and lift up and out, and you're good to go. So it's super quick, it's super easy, and that's what I wanted to do. I had come up with several different designs for this, kind of in my head, but all of them involved like latches and stuff like that, and it was just going to be hard to remove it once the tote was filled with wood. So far, I filled about 6 of these off camera with this, makeshift grate, and it works really well. Worst comes to worst, you gotta push a piece of wood in or something to just give a little clearance to be able to swing this inner, locking mechanism or whatever you want to call it out of the way. But it works pretty well, and I'm gonna show you by filling these totes up today. Once I figured out how to make it, it was pretty quick and easy. You could see I just used a bunch of washers as spacers to allow clearance for these to clear the outer rungs on the tote. I did that on both top and bottom. Now the bottom ones could essentially be fixed in place if you wanted to, but just for this prototype, I decided to make them all kind of generic and the same, to just make it a little bit easier to make it. And honestly, none of these bars have gotten really knocked out of the way by falling pieces of wood. The grates haven't fallen out of the tote while filling it up at all. So far I'm pretty happy with it. I've made 2 of them. I have another one right over here because that's how many totes I've been filling up lately, and they work really well. This was an early rendition of what we were kind of using. You can see it was 2 grates that we kind of sistered together, and we would use a ratchet strap to get in there. It was big, it was clunky, it didn't really fit the cutouts on the totes all that well. And I just think that this design is a lot easier both to install and remove, and it's certainly a lot quicker. Another quick thing I wanted to point out is that a lot of these IBC totes, although they appear to be similar when you're just quickly glancing at them, there are a lot of subtle differences, and there are different manufacturers of them. As you can see, this is a small tote. It's made with round galvanized tubing. This is a small tote, but it's made with square galvanized tubing. You can see the gap in height there on this small tote and how much of the grate is sticking out off the top there. And you can see the difference here, in the spacing of the actual horizontal rungs. And the nice thing about this design is that as long as you utilize enough washers, as spacers to give clearance, this design will fit both the round tube and the square tube just fine. And by utilizing the taller cutouts from the large 330 gallon totes, it, you know, fits all the different spacings that I've come across so far of the horizontal rungs. All right, guys, Sarah just came out to tell me she's heading out for the day. What, you're going to meet up with some friends or something?
Yeah, going to brunch.
Going to brunch. Girls, let me tell you, women...
Saturdays are a lot different.
Yeah. Women this age sure love brunch. For somebody
Who doesn't love brunch?
For somebody that doesn't eat breakfast all that often, you certainly like brunch.
Well, you could get lunch.
You can
That's
get lunch, brunch,
and
yeah.
mimosas.
And mimosas, and everybody loves mimosas.
Yep.
All right, well, it is a gorgeous day for it.
Yeah, it's beautiful out.
I'm hoping to get all this wood split up, and then maybe I'll take Louie or Gus out on the boat.
Do it.
Hit the
Send me
sandbar.
photos.
It's gorgeous. So you look pretty good yourself too.
Thanks.
Oh, thank you very much.
Boat
all right.
day tomorrow.
Boat day tomorrow for Father's Day. Gonna get your dad out there?
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. See you later.
See ya.
All right, guys. Half an hour. We got 2 more full totes of really nice hickory and beech firewood. You might have seen there in the time lapse, I came in when the totes were about 2/3 full, and I just kind of, you know, knocked down the cone in the center and made the, you know, the wood kind of like flush and even. And now I'm doing that one more time here. Now normally, you know, if you got like a second guy, they could be doing that, you know, whilst the other person is splitting. And you don't really have to stop at all, which is what Chris and I have been working towards. You know, we're trying to get it down to a system where we need to handle the wood physically by hand as little as possible. That way, the majority of the time can be spent splitting or cutting or feeding rounds to the splitter and not, you know, messing around with wood, which is what these grates are for, which is what these pink little cat whiskers are for, the marking whiskers. If you didn't see that video, go back. I think it was the last video I posted. I'll put a link to it up above. These marking whiskers are great. You can see how evenly these totes filled up because we know exactly where to put them every time. Now, are you going to catch every piece of wood? No. Some pieces fell down here in between, you know, the grizzly bar scrap tote and the actual totes of firewood, but that's fine. And like you can see, I'm picking them up now and just putting them in these totes. But in theory, you could come in, pick up these totes, get rid of them, put 2 fresh ones. The guy splitting can continue to split, and the assistant can, you know, take these pieces of wood that are on the ground and just throw them in the new empty totes. It's really not a big deal. Because I'm here by myself, I'm doing things a little bit differently. So as you can see, here are the 4 points that need to be, you know, moved. And they're really not all that jammed up. This one might have a little bit of pressure on it. The ones at the bottom just basically slide up. So I'm gonna throw the camera on the tripod so I have 2 hands and show you how easy it is. Now, obviously no 2 totes are gonna be the same, but you can really just go like this. See, that one was the one I thought was gonna be hard. This one, super easy. We pull it out and no wood falls. Like, that is awesome. Really cool how it does that. Like I said, sometimes maybe a piece or 2 will fall based on how they just, you know, lay in the tote, but it's not like you have as much as if you didn't have this grate here. You can see how flat and flush it is, which is nice when you go to put your totes up in rows. You don't have pieces sticking all the way out. It works really well. So this is, you know, obviously what I came up with. And I think, you know, with your guys' input, we might be able to improve upon this and experiment a little bit more and see, you know, if we can get something that works even better. But for right now, you know, a prototype, I'm super happy with this. Okay, so here's the second tote. This one, I have a feeling some pieces are gonna fall out just because I can see the way that they're, you know, laying. But again, we'll see how much falls out, but I don't think it's gonna be a whole lot. So like that one was jammed up, so I just removed that piece. And now I'm able to pop the grate out and we'll see. Look at that. Not a single piece fell out. These IBC Tote grates work pretty well. On this one, you may notice I have these, you know, rungs bent a little bit, and that's to allow for this grate, when it's up against the second tote, to kind of push up against it to minimize the gap between the two totes so not as much wood falls down in between. That's something I am kind of experimenting with, and it seems to be working pretty well here because we had very minimal wood fall down in between the totes. Actually, just this piece went in between, and you can see this is a piece of scrap that kind of found its way down there. Now, I don't know if you guys mark your totes with the species and the date like I do. For instance, this is mostly hickory and beech, and it is June of 2024. But I have used everything from Sharpies to the Milwaukee, you know, imitation version of Sharpie, and they all fade to the point of you can't read it within a couple months. What doesn't fade are these Paint Writer Plus markers. These things are great. They're made by Markall, and I bought like a 12-pack of them. I don't know, it was maybe like 17 bucks. One, you know, marker will last me, just writing this little bit on each tote, probably last me about a year. But I will put a link in the description down to these guys. They work really well, and they don't fade whatsoever out in the elements. Well, all right, guys, I think that's gonna about wrap it up. I got a little more wood to split, but I'm gonna do that off camera. The primary focus of this video was to show you this new creation that I came up with. Please let me know in the comments below what you think of this, what I could change to improve it. If you think this is a good idea, if you think it's a waste of time, you know, I go off of your guys' feedback, and a lot of you guys have really good ideas. You know, sometimes you look at something and you think, oh, this is the best way to do it, but you know, by only one set of eyes looking at it, you can sometimes kind of pigeonhole yourself into thinking that that is the best way. And that's what I love about YouTube, all the feedback and all the constructive criticism and creativity that, you know, this whole woodhound community has. So everybody is always super helpful. Please be helpful on this. Let me know what you think about it. Again, happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. And yeah, that's it. So as always, guys, if you liked the video, please give it a big thumbs up. If you haven't done so already, click the subscribe button down below. I'd really appreciate it. Questions, comments, feedback, you know what to do down in the comments. But for now, I'm Jake. This is Dude Ranch DIY. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you here next time.